Hey, how you doing, man?
Everything good, man.
Yeah,
How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. I checked out your video yesterday about that other site. It looks like a good, pretty cool site.
Which one?
Well,
The
I don't know
site?
if you did the video yesterday, but it was released yesterday. It was about the AHK site.
Oh, the one for the Chinese forum?
Yeah. I
Oh
checked it out.
yeah.
It's pretty cool. There's some weird things about that site, though. I don't know if you, I don't know if you've read through much of it, but there's some peculiarities.
Of course, I know. Yeah, there are very interesting stuff lurking in there. I know.
Yes.
But it is
Good
I was
quality, though.
surprised.
Good quality.
Yes, actually it is a very interesting site. I stumbled upon it recently and I was like, hey, that's a nice one.
It's different though. I don't know how much you read through it, but there's some weird things. There's some things.
Yeah, man, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, I get what you're saying.
Yes.
Uh,
I think most people, if they read through it, it would be like, this is a little bit unusual.
no, but basically what I understand is that even though the forum itself, like I don't think anybody's gonna spend that much time on that site because it is for really advanced user. You have to understand what is going on. Like you have to see what is going on. But I have noticed that there's some very interesting scripts in there. Uh, Actually, I saw one of them kind of like working with the UI and automation stuff.
Let's wait 5 more minutes
Okay.
because
right, this is live streamed. Right. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go for a smoke. I'll be back in a few.
Okay. Talk to you later. Yeah.
it'll be starting a little bit over 3 minutes here, guys. Looking forward to it. Meanwhile, instead of background music, I'm going to sing to you.
There we go.
Hey everyone, welcome. Let's have some fun. Zayas, you can go ahead and start your webcam back up too. Sorry for.
I think you have to do it because it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna leave it off then.
There you go. There we go. Hi everybody.
Hello, people.
Hi.
May
Hi,
the
guys.
fourth be with you, belatedly.
What's that?
May the fourth be with you, a belated.
Yesterday, yeah, 2 days. May the sixth be with you.
Yeah, it's true actually. I was joking about it with Joe because in our culture we do not have that, because in Spanish you don't have that kind of thing. So when he said it, like, yeah, we got a new version of auto hotkey for, what was it, for the
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo, right? And he said, like, well, a little bit too late for the Star Wars Day. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, what is that? And then he was like, yeah, May the 4th. And I was like, aha. It was kind of like the first time that I encountered that one. It was funny.
Certain things don't translate always, do they?
No, they don't. So I always find it, languages is a subject that is very fascinating to me because of that, because there's a few little details that you could only understand them on that language, you know, like.
Well, it's the same as programming, isn't it?
Yes, it is true.
It's identical. There we go.
No, honestly, I'd say it's a little different because in programming, often, there's still, I guess, some nuances, but there's maybe more similarities. And it's kind of like saying, there in sign language, there's one sign language. It's an international sign language, right? Like they don't have different language versions of sign language.
Oh no, they do.
They
I was surprised. I was surprised to know that one.
Yeah, there's European and there's American, and there's
still a very strict standard. A standard that most people know.
Okay.
Because I took it in college, and I was really surprised to go, wow, that's really interesting.
But there's kind of like variations to it, right? Yeah. No, but regarding the languages, like programming languages, I would disagree a little bit on that, because, for example, in Python, there's something that you can do with arrays that you cannot do in any other language, and
but you still have arrays.
Oh yeah, so you mean like there are some basic concepts that travel? Right. That might be true, but in my experience, and that's the reason why I usually say, like, not only has to be coded in auto hotkey, because there's some tools that are better suited for what you're trying. Like PHP is better for scripting a web server than auto hotkey. You can do it without a hotkey, right? But it would be better in PHP, and it is because of those kind of details that a guy was saying, like. Yeah, there's something that's kind of like regionalisms in programming languages as well, like it's interesting.
So what's the topic for today? I've got some questions, but again, I don't want to presume.
Maybe we should see if there's any questions already from the audience that have already sent their questions through the forums, or anything that they would like to know before we really start.
I've sent Joe an email. There's some in there, but
okay, that's awesome.
There was one question that I saw. Was there something else? I just saw something about using Azalea's.
Yes. Well, I wanted to understand what is the correct way of using that code, and then I had a query about that code specifically, and that's my question for today.
But you didn't give me any code to start, so I don't even know.
Okay. It's the auto update code for files that Azaeus wrote. While you're dealing with this other question, I will drop it in the in the message for you.
Yeah, because I'm not really sure which one that is. So yeah, that would be good.
So Azaeus, well, let me first address this in general, right? Auto hotkey in general, is open source. You can make money off it. You can do lots of things. You do need to include, citing that it's auto hotkey. Most people there's usually like 3 or 4 different kind of levels of licensing that will be included in the file. Some people will say it's just the open source, do whatever you want with it. We don't really give any sort of care at all. Most people have if you use this code, you can feel free to use it even for commercial purposes. This is what mine is. But you have to leave, my stuff in here the things I had in there, right?
Okay.
Isaias can talk more to he knows the actual versions and the descriptions of them.
Well, there are a few that are the most common ones. You will see a lot of, and this one is gaining a lot of popularity, is the MIT license, which is really permissive. You can do whatever you want with the code. The only thing is that you have to keep the license as such. You cannot change it. Most of the licenses restrict you to that. You cannot change the licensing of it. So if the license says that you must share the source code, even if you sell it, whatever you're distributing must have the source code in it. You cannot just go ahead and change the license and say like, no, now from now on, you cannot do it. That you cannot do. So my code usually goes with the general public license, which is the GPL license, and usually stipulates that whatever you're sharing, you must share the source code with it. Mm-hmm. You can sell it, you can modify it, you can reuse it, but the original code or the source code must be always given to other people as such. Because what I am, and usually what I do is educate people. I just tell them what I know, and there is no use for me to create code to teach people and then that you don't give that code to somebody else. That's the point of it. So I need to give the code so that you can look at it and learn from it, right? So that's the only restriction that I have. You can modify it, do whatever you want with it. It's not a big deal. The only thing is that the source code must be available for other people to learn.
In this particular case, it's an AHK library called scriptobject.ahk
right, exactly.
that you created. So that will be in the library. And I'll include it in my program, and then I'm able to use it. Is that correct?
That is correct. And if you make
when I compile it,
that's okay.
If I compile it into an exe file, where do we stand?
And that's the point. So you compile your exe, you can use it however you want. But if you're going to share that code or sell it or do whatever you want with it,
yes,
the source code for the script object must be available for that person to see it somewhere.
As an AHK file.
Yeah, exactly. So they should be able to see at least that part of the code. Your code doesn't have to be open, but that library at least should be visible somehow. And if you don't want to provide the AHK itself, you can provide a link. You can provide a link to where you got it from that actually provides the source code. That's okay too.
Yeah,
okay, that's fine.
And it's good practice to put a copy of the license in the credit section of your documentation. So you have a place where you say thank you to Isaias Baez for this library, copyright GPL or something like that.
I just want to know what would be the
personally I'm using the Apache license, which is very similar to the GPL.
Yeah, I don't want to upset anybody, and I can't pretend that I invented the internet. So, we've all borrowed code from somewhere, but there is a correct way of doing it, and there is a way of doing it where you upset people. So,
I understand, but basically, at least that particular library, I do not have it marked with any licensing.
Okay.
And usually when something is not marked as licensed, usually the good practice is to ask the author to see what he intends for the code.
Okay.
But many people don't do that. They just assume that it's in the general, like the public domain, and they do whatever they want with it. Yeah. But usually it's very good, as you just did, just ask about it in case that it is not really clear. But if yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
The main point is to avoid giving the impression that you wrote that code.
Exactly, that's all.
That's what would be upsetting for the person doing that. Don't pretend you did it because it's me who did it, but you can use it.
Yeah. Most of the time,
I didn't create the code. I used the code.
Right. If you on the credit section say like this code was created by RaptorX, that should be enough for this type of library. But if the library specifies that you need to share the source code, then a link to where the source code is okay too. In my case, some other people might be a little bit more strict on that.
Okay. I was on a call with Maestriath one time. This is real. Him and I really didn't know each other well, and we got to talking, and he talked about the Windows. WIA, what is it? The Windows image acquisition.
Right,
And I'm like, oh, I actually use that. And I said, it's in my Windows snipping tool. Let me show you. So I pull it up, and he goes, yeah, that's me right there. And I thankfully had cited him, as the author of the thing. But I'm like, I didn't know, I never looked. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
that's you. Okay.
Like, thank God I cited them.
Yeah. But that's how it works. And usually it's not a big, I think it gets a little bit hairy when you start selling the stuff. And you're claiming that it was you and the other person should have gotten any type of compensation out of it because he has a license for it. So it is more complex when it is like that. If it is yours for your personal use, it usually is not that big of a deal.
I want to be able to share it between my other photographer colleagues. So there is a sharing involved. But I don't want to be selling your code. I'm selling my code, and your code is part of it, and it's credited. But again, we're talking pennies, we're talking small numbers, we're talking about 20 copies at $5.
I'm gonna tell you right now, don't worry about it, because I'm not looking for money for that library.
Okay. Now, if I turn around and say, look, I've made 5 million out of it, you might take some of that. I understand that.
No. In general, at least in my case, those type of libraries, and usually the ones that I publish on the forum myself, that's not everybody else. Anybody else might have their own ways, but myself, as soon as I publish the code in the forum, is because I want people to use it, learn it, and modify it. I don't worry about that. If I was making money out of it, I would have actually made a strict license, because I know how licensing works. I would have made a strict license and explained exactly what to do, and it would be clear everywhere. So in this case, that's okay.
Thank you very much for this explanation, because again, I don't know what I don't know. In this case, I knew what I didn't know, and I asked, and I'm sure other people on the forum are in exactly the same position.
Yeah, they might.
So this is a good point, I think, for everybody. So if you've got one moment, I have a simple question about this code. And I've learned a lot just by looking at it. This is the code that allows you to update a script by having an update version somewhere online, and when it's launched, it says, does this script need updating, and updating it. I don't know if you remember that particular code you wrote, November 2020.
Hello, I'm back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you wrote this code in November 2020, and the file name is there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Been a little while, huh?
Yeah. Well, you must have written a lot more code. Well, actually, I learned so much just by looking at it to see that the way you code and the way I code are just totally different.
Yes.
Okay. Even though we're coding in the same language, and that was incredible. It really opened my eyes. Okay. And I understand. And you know what? I managed to translate and understand what you're doing. Beautiful. Okay. Awesome. So here is the question I have, and that is with my understanding of the web. You're looking for two files, one file that asks for the version of the code, and one file is a zip file that is the actual contents of the payload that's going to unzip. My question is, I have issues. How do I place those files on the web for this to read? Can I dump it on my website? Do I have to have a GitHub account, which I do, but I don't know how to use. I'm not even gotten to GitHub. So how do I place those two files online for this product to read?
Okay, it is a good question. Let me just open up my code and just share my screen real quick. If I remember correctly, and that's what I'm doing right now, just confirming that what I'm going to give you is the right information. Can
you go to the top of the code and I'll tell you if it's got the same thing? At the very top, it says you've got version 0.01. I've got version.
No. So the script version is 20.2.
Okay, I've got 15.1.
Okay, so that's a little bit older. So I have made some modifications to it since that time. But I think it's not going to be that different, because the things that I modified had nothing to do with the update function, which is the one that I think you're referring to.
Correct.
Now, the update function takes two parameters. One of them is the version file, okay? And actually, it usually explains that what the version file is and what the remote file, which is going to be a zip file. So
I understood that.
Now, here's the thing. You don't have to use GitHub. You can just place those two wherever you want in your server and just pass those two as arguments to this function. The only thing is that you just have to put them wherever you want. So after that, I just download the version file, which, just to give you an idea of how that looks like, it's just one line of code.
And is it written in Notepad? I can do it in Notepad?
Yeah. It can be in anything you want. So the only thing is that it has a version number like this.
Yeah.
That's it. It just
with a carriage return, a line feed or something afterwards, and that's it.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it has a line feed or anything. What I'm looking for is a file that only has that.
Yeah.
It just has a 3-digit number.
Yeah.
So I will make the function be a little bit more flexible and other things, but for now, it has to be a 3-digit number.
Yes.
That is separated by dots and optionally has a V in front. It can have it or it doesn't matter. But basically, that's the file that contains the version.
Okay.
That's it.
And you save that as?
And then the zip file that is going to be downloaded. I don't save it. I just need the number. And after that.
No, what I'm saying is, but this is a file, correct?
Yes.
So you're going to save that file for that file to be downloaded.
Yes. Yeah. So in your server, you can have a file that points to that. And I think many programs like AutoHotkey do that as well, different ways. But yeah.
It's on my server. Yeah. What you have to consider is that you need to select a location that will be in the long term, that will be available for a long time, because it could be in 3 years that someone will use the first version of your program.
Yeah.
So that's something that you should not change
actually
in the future. And we have an experience recently with a site for AutoHotkey that had this issue where the auto update URL was down. So that's the thing to consider. So it could be your Dropbox folder, but if you think that you will change your Dropbox account at some point, then you will lose this URL.
Unless you're clever and you have some way of updating to a new URL in the future.
Joe is going to say that.
Yeah. Joe is going there.
Yeah. Use a pretty link, and that way you can update it.
Always
later.
update
Unless
it.
You have the domain. Now, that's where, in the case of Fink's, site for AutoHotkey website, the domain was lost. And if you use the pretty link from your own domain, there's no getting around that, right? So that's why you might use a tiny URL or some other one. But then you have to be able to log back in and get to it, right? So
Yeah. In my case, the reason why I used GitHub, and maybe that's what you saw in the examples, is that I was using GitHub. The reason why I used it is because GitHub is a really stable site. I know that it's not going to change for a little while, and all my versions are stored there. So I actually, as I use Git all the time, I just have to push a button and it is there already. So that's the reason why I use that. But the function is not restricted to any site. You can actually point to your version file anywhere you want, and the remote file that's the file that will be downloaded and installed in a different location. So my remote files always has the same name. It has the same location. So the latest version of my script is always named the same. So for me, that remote file is always the same. The only thing that might change is the version file. That's all.
So my question is, how do I place the version file on my website? For instance, I have a domain I use at the moment, which is my photography domain, and it's a WordPress domain. How do I put down that version file in my WordPress domain so I can read it from the script?
That's something that maybe somebody else might.
You could you could use an FTP client. So I don't know if it's included in the package.
I have an FTP client. Yes.
So FTP is the role is file transfer protocol. So it's to transfer a file. So all you need to do is using this, and usually on the left side, you have your local hard disk, and on the right side, you have the file server, or the opposite, and you just select your file and you update the file with the version number with the new file when you're ready to release your new version, and as well you will override the zip file.
Okay, the transfer is easy. I understand that. Do I need to put it in a particular folder, or have any
always the same
authentication issues?
It just has to be always the same folder.
Yeah.
Over time, when you do updates, it's always at same location, same file name.
So anyone can access this on my
domain. It needs to be a public. It needs to be a public folder.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm asking for. It's going to be a public folder.
Yeah.
But Guy, do you also assume that everybody, every time they're using your program, is online?
Well, it checks for an update, and if it fails, it carries on. So you
got to build it. Well, and yeah, as long as that's all you're doing, then make sure you build around that. But
yeah, I mean, if it finds the update, it says update find. You want to update. If there's no update,
exactly.
It just carries on.
I had an issue with that when I was using a licensing system for quick access pop-up, which I abandoned a few months ago, where to use the software, you needed to be online just to check the license. And it was an issue for users that were not always online. So I had to add some code just to allow 15 days of grace or something like that, where you could use the software without being online. So in the case where you have a license that is checking to make your program run, then it's an issue if the user is not online, and it's something that is annoying. But in your case, it will just be updated the next time the user will be online.
Yeah,
so that's not a real issue.
And then basically that function, the first thing that it does is that it checks whether there is an internet connection or not. So I that is one of the things that you always have to keep in mind when you're updating and stuff like that. So
and the zip folder, where does it get unzipped to once
that's actually something that it gets unzipped into a temporal folder.
Yeah.
And then the files are replaced on the main script. So
on the user's hard disk.
Yeah, but
not on the server. It's not related to the server.
No, what I'm saying is, does your function do the unzipping and the replacing?
Yes, everything.
So where do you tell your function where to put the unzipped to replace?
Well, where the script is. So if you have your script on the desktop,
yes,
when you do the update, it would actually replace the file on the desktop. So it will just update the script.
Local. Okay, the directory it's in at the moment.
Yeah, of course.
Perfect. And that's, I could find that out, but it's easier to ask a directed question. Now, what else does this script do? Because I'm only using the update function. Are there anything else that is useful that I need to know about it?
Yes, it has a few interesting details. One of them is the auto start function that allows you to place a script on the auto start section. And actually, I think there's a
I've done that already.
Joe, is there a question regarding the auto start? I think there was a question.
No, in the chat. It's not on the auto start, but Eamon's asking about, he's got a script that it's set to auto start, and it does. I think it does start. He can see the icon in the system tray. However, he has hotkeys, and it sounds like hot strings that even though it's in there, they don't work. But when he reloads the script, then they work. And so it
is an interesting question, but I think usually when those type of things happen, there is a conflicting hotkey out there that when you reload, awesome. When you reload the hotkey, what you could do is to install the keyboard hook on the script. So when the script starts, it installs the keyboard hook, and I think the hotkeys that are registered are not taken by any other program that starts later on. Maybe that.
An example of that real quick.
Yeah. So let me double check on that. Here we go.
The other thing I would do is go onto that system tray, double click it, and see what the last lines run were, just to make sure it actually ran the way you think it ran.
So I am I am looking at this directive that is called install keyboard hook, and it just does it registers the keys, the hotkeys, in a way that is different from register hotkey. Okay, so as it does it in a different way, I think when another program uses the register hotkey function, because this function is from the operating system, okay? So when the other program uses the register hotkey to activate their hotkey, it probably will not be able to do it because your script already has the hook to those keys. That's what I'm actually, how do I say, like, I'm forcing it in a specific way. I haven't tested it, but this is my first try. I would try to do this, and you have the other option like use hook or use the dollar prefix to a hotkey. So those kind of little details, if you try one of those, you could see if that helps by, grabbing the hotkey before the other. Yeah, it's just a directive. You just do that.
Yeah, just add the directive on your script, and that'll take care of it.
Yeah,
and directives. It doesn't matter where it is. Correct? It could be anywhere.
No, it could be anywhere on the script, and because it's a directive, it gets read before the script is even created. So yeah, you can try that. If that's not it, then we would have to try setting up a different hotkey and see if that one also has the issue. Like try a different hotkey and see if that also gets, that it doesn't work. But in general, either the hook or changing the hotkey should be able to fix that issue for you. Now, going back to the script itself, like, yeah, you have the auto start. It allows you to create a splash image,
Yes,
like
I saw that.
Right. The about, yeah. So those kind of things. Now, those other functions that are for saving or getting licenses and stuff like that, that is not really working at the moment. I was just testing a few things, and it was working by that time when I tested it. But I think there were some changes to the API, and it's not working anymore. And that is using the EDD, like Easy Digital Downloads API to get information about activating, reloading, and those kind of things. So in general, those functions are not, they were working a little time ago, but now I think there was a change in the API and they're not working anymore.
But I don't think I've got those in the script. They're not, the licensing is not in this script.
This is the newer version.
No. This is the newer version. So
you asked what's in it. So
yeah. But basically, the main reason why I have this object is to set variables about the script that then I could use in many parts of my script. And if I need to change that, then I just change it once. So for example, I have script.version, right? So if I have the script version and I use in different other parts of my code that I want to display the version of the script, I just use this variable, the script.version thing. And in the end, if I change my script version, I do not have to go around my code changing that.
And that is something I learned just by looking at the way you set things out. So,
right.
And that's something that I've adopted now in my own scripting. So thank you.
The name of the script and all of those things, for example, a script name contains the name of the script. The only problem is that it has the extension after it. So what I did is that I just say script name is the same as grabbing the name and removing the extension out of it.
Yeah.
And now wherever I refer to my script name, it's not going to have the extension on it. I don't know if that has changed or if there's a variable that doesn't have the extension on it.
But this works.
At that time when I did it, that's the only way that I could do it. So yeah, those kind of little details. It's just a variable to store information about my script to use anywhere else on my script without having to go and change every single one.
Yeah. I know when we were working on stuff that the version checking was also because that was something you added recently, right? Remember, because we had to do it at each decimal to compare each decimal.
Yes, yes.
Within a given
So yeah, so I was just checking each decimal separately, as it should be the same version. That's how it works. But yeah, at the beginning when I created the function the first time, I was not checking any of that. I was just doing something very simple for me, and yeah, I didn't really care about it that much. That was what happened.
Well, while we're chatting, I'm just testing with the FTP by putting things in the local, things. So let's see if that works.
Why don't you go ahead and show, let's walk through I saw a couple people said they were interested in seeing the Rufy, whatever name thing is, automating Chrome. The new tool.
Oh, that was awesome. I really enjoyed watching that.
Really? That's great. So yeah, we do have, we were testing a little bit that library here, and we could just go ahead and do it again, just to be, live in case you guys have any questions. But basically I was just going through the library, taking a look at the options that you have and so on. And basically there were a few things that I wanted to point out about when you're starting, and it is how you start the thing. Okay, so you have, let me just 1 minute. Yeah, this is the one. So you have to create a driver object first. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind all the time. Whenever you go ahead and start with test.hk, you include this guy here. I will copy this. And yeah, Rufaydium is the name of it. So we include it. And the first thing that you have to do is to get a driver. So new run driver, I think it is called, which I just saw. Yeah, run driver. That's what you're looking for. And that should be the path to the driver itself. So a script directory, Chrome driver.exe, and that's with a slash here. And that could be anything else. And I noticed in the examples that he was using the MS Edge driver. So you could download the MS Edge and just automate a Edge instead. Okay. And then after you have your driver, then you have your Chrome instance, because that's what it's going to do. It's going to create a new instance. I would do new, this guy here, and I will just pass the driver variable to it. Well, it's an object now, and that would give me a Chrome instance. Now that I have my Chrome instance, then I could just go ahead and create a page. So I want to automate a specific page, and that's where I would just create Chrome.new session. There you go, new session. And that would create a new page. They call it as a session, but basically think about it as a page. And now that you have your page, now you can do different stuff like navigating to it, navigate to, I don't know, the-Automator.com and so on. And that is part of what I was explaining. But basically, the most important part of the whole process is how to set it up. And you have to keep in mind that there's four things to keep always in mind whenever you're dealing with this library. You have to include the library, obviously, but then you have to create a driver, which is not that obvious sometimes, and then pass the driver object onto the new Rufaydium. So as soon as you do that, then you create your page, and now you're good to go. So have to do a few steps before you're ready to go. And basically, if I run this, I should get something. Yeah, there you go. So it is actually just going ahead and automating the thing and just creating the page for me. So that's how it usually works. After that, what I would do is just go ahead and open my script. And I was telling Joe that I need to get a little bit better at this. But in VS Code, you have here the outline of the object or function that you're looking at, and it gives you a list of all the functions. And I always forget that I can do that. But basically think about this as an index of what you can do. So this gives you a very quick overview of the things that you can do without having to look at the code and get confused about a lot of things, you know. So basically I would just go ahead and take a look at this and see, oh, look, I could just go ahead and fetch the URL or switch the tab. So yeah, it's just something that I need to get used to, but just remember, after you're working with a new library, just go ahead and take a look at what you can do with it, right?
Yeah, and if you're new to browser automation, let me give you a quick overview of, it used to be really easy with IE. Obviously, IE is, you know, on its deathbed. Unfortunately, Edge doesn't have a COM object, so we can't use the COM object directly. Then Geekdude had created, oh, I'm sorry, let me step back up. Selenium was the go-to thing. Unfortunately, installing Selenium sucks. In the dated version that we use with AutoHotkey, at least, is very, very dated, and installing it's problematic. Then Geekdude had created a Chrome class with AutoHotkey, which looked promising. Unfortunately, it still had some, was it not webhooks? What am I thinking?
No, yeah, WebSockets. He was communicating, he's communicating via WebSockets, yeah.
And it would frequently come disconnected. And so it became very buggy at doing some things. Nothing on what Geekdude did. It's just, it made
it's not his fault, yeah.
So then we tried using auto control as an extension, which was better, but it still had some problems. And then just the other day, we saw this Rufaydium thing. And what's really cool about it is you don't have to install Selenium, even though it's from Selenium. The driver part is from Selenium. It's not, you don't need all the architecture that comes with Selenium. It's a separate program that will be on your computer that connects to Chrome. So you don't have to launch Chrome in debug mode, which is Chrome, the class from Geekdude, you had to be in debug mode. This will allow you to programmatically connect to it. And we can even, because we were looking at his code and we're like, well, crap, we don't even have to use necessarily his class. We can just write our own to connect to this driver and go get our cookies from Chrome and use that for our API calls. So we're going to be doing more and more videos on it, but it does seem, I mean, granted, we've only played with it a little bit, but it seems stable and pretty easy to use.
Yeah.
And it's fresh. I mean, it's like less than a month old and it's already got a lot of functionality.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
Now, Eamon is back and he's able to share his screen, and he restarted to show the issue. But Eamon, do you want to go ahead and share your screen and unmute yourself if you can, or you?
How do you share your screen?
Yeah.
Look on for a toolbar for Zoom, and in the middle there's like a green box. It'll say share screen.
Okay, I see it.
Cool.
And this is always good to see this type of things, because it is, how would I debug this? How would I go about figuring this one out?
So I have a software that helps me to type Bangla language. It has a shortcut that is very hard to press, Ctrl-Alt-B. So when I need to quickly change languages, you know, it takes a long time. So I wrote a script that presses the button. The hotkey is Alt-Z, and when I press this hotkey, the script presses these three keys.
Exactly, yes.
So I wrote the script is set as startup app, but
can you double click on it, please? Can you double click on it? On the little script icon down there, yeah? Yeah, just double click on that. So I see that the last thing that this executed was just to create the menu tray icon. John, maybe you know if the setting of the hotkeys show up on this line. No, maybe you can click where it says view at the top, where it says view in the menu, and say hotkeys and the methods, hotkeys and their methods. Okay, they do have the key hooks. You have the Z, the up. They are being shown here.
What does the asterisk imply?
That it could be together with other things. Like, for example, if you press Ctrl-Alt-Z, it would also work. But so now I see that they are installed with the keyboard hook, okay, which is different by the others down there. So I know that some of them are hooked. and still he says that it doesn't work. So maybe. Can you show the code for that hotkey? Let me see how you have it set up. Are you using send keys or something like that?
No. Can I reload the script? Then it will work.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. And let's see what it looks like when you reload it. So there we go. It cannot load the icon. Oh, so
if I press Alt Z, it changes this.
Yeah. But notice that you got an error, right? Did you see that you got an error?
Yes, it's tray icon error. If I turn it to a executable, then it works. But
yeah. Okay. Now let's try this. Can you comment that code first? But let's do this. Open the script first, and because maybe that error is causing the issue with the hotkeys later on. But we will see later. Don't worry.
Like this?
Yes. So let's see what Alt Z does. Yeah, it does. That's the correct way how I would have done it anyways. So now the menu tray icon, can you, when you have the auto execute the script in auto start, is that the executable, or is that the script that you're showing me?
It's the AHK file.
The AHK, not the executable.
I
tried the executable, same result.
Okay. Okay. So you're getting the same, even though now.
The question is this error stopping the script, or will the script continue after the error? Because if it stops the script, there's an issue we have to fix.
Exactly.
And my guess would be that maybe when it first runs, the start in folder, so the active directory when the script is running the first time, is not correct. So it's not finding the icon file, something like that. But I'm not sure if we would have to see the error again, maybe to just see if the script will stop after the error or will continue.
I would assume, because it is a message box. It is a message box, and I remember that message box says stop the execution of the script.
So it says that the thread will exit, something like that.
Exactly.
Which means that the remaining of the script will not running at all.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So what you could first try is just to put the full path of your master.ico file, so that every time it will run, it will always find the file, regardless of from where the script is being started.
So just copy the path. Put it in front of that.
Like this?
No, the other way around.
Just before.
Before the icon.
Okay.
Put a slash in there, backslash.
Third time's a charm.
There we go. Let's try that. Let's reload the script now like that. And let's see if you get the error.
Incidentally, just since I see you're working under OneDrive, and I don't think we've released it yet, but Isaias and I recorded a video the other day talking about using a file append. Oh, there it goes. Under a cloud shared stuff, and it was very.
Let's see something.
Yeah.
There you got your script. You got your icon. So now you're not getting that error. The next step would be testing whether when you restart the script, you would get that. Well, when you restart the computer,
or the session.
Now, what I would like you to do, you see the Alt Z in there. So number 3, line number 3. I want you to put the number symbol at the beginning. No, just at the beginning of it. Just put the currency symbol, the S with the. Like the dollar symbol.
The dollar sign?
Yeah, the dollar sign.
You want to charge them?
I want that hotkey to be charged. Yeah.
Which button was it?
So let me can I there you go.
That's it.
That's it. That's the one. That's the one. So save it and now test again. No, that's okay. I just wanted to help you out with that's okay. So now the only thing is that you would have to go ahead and restart your computer and see if that fixes the issue. So if it gets fixed, you know that you're going to get disconnected, right? So if it gets fixed, it was the message box. I would assure you of that. But if it doesn't get fixed, we'll have to figure out what the heck
I
was.
have another thing to add.
Yep.
I tried first, if I restart the computer, it works. But if I shut it down, then turn it on again, it doesn't work.
Oh, that's interesting. What?
Very interesting.
Right.
But Isaias, why did you add the $sign?
Oh,
to force the keyboard. To force the keyboard hook.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And I think I understand when you're shutting down. I mean, are you actually suspending or sleeping instead of actually shutting down?
Press this one.
Well, sometimes, and I see you had hotkeys for stuff, and I almost never shut down anymore. I either suspend or hibernate. And then when I come back in, I'm not rebooting. I'm just getting it back to where it was, which is honestly, I highly recommend it. But that would explain if you were actually suspending or hibernating instead of shutting down. It would explain this, why it only happens when you actually start from scratch.
Yeah. We will see. But right now, basically, and just to answer your question, John, the $sign forces that particular hotkey to use the keyboard hook, which is the method that I was reading so that forces the script to load the keyboard hook. But for that, right now, when we took a look at the list, it said that it was using the hook, right? So, but I want to really kind of like make sure that we're doing that just in case. But let's try it. Just go ahead and reload, and we will see what happens.
Reload.
However,
you'll have to reboot probably.
The one that you said that had the issue.
Or reload the session. It's a bit quicker, and it will re-execute the startup procedure.
So just log out.
Log out and log in, and we will lose you for a few minutes while you will doing that. We will
just go up. No, just go up where your name is. Just go up there, click on that, and then sign out, and then come back in. Yeah. So we'll see each other in a minute. He just left.
He's gone.
Yeah. Who else?
I would have a question about the Chrome automation. With this tool that you demonstrated, do we have access to the object model of the page the same way we had with IE automation, so we can find the path to a given control on the page and get the information in it? The same way of working that we've seen that you've shown us with IE?
Can you explain it as you explained it to me just the other day, of the DOM versus the program acts, how you were saying how they're actually different in some? Yeah.
So basically, to answer your question, John, yes, you will have access to the DOM through some specific methods that in this particular instance, in this library, he named that exactly the same as the methods in the DOM, but they're not the same. So let me explain. I would use page query selector all, and I would put my query selector here, as you would do in the DOM, right? And then you would access the items as you would do, like number one dot, click, for example, the same. So you are accessing the DOM through this method. Now, there is a difference between that method and the one in the DOM, okay? So if you go ahead and take a look at the method itself, so let's look for query selector or query selector all, what you would see is that he's using a method called find element for doing that.
Yeah.
And if you go ahead,
is the next one.
And then if you use find element, he is actually doing what is called, he's actually doing some HTTP requests to the local server, and he's getting information back through that method. So you're not using the query selector from the DOM as you know it. So what I would say, even though you are going to get the results as you're usually, it might bring some surprising results sometimes because you're not using the method from the DOM. Now, he says that if you want to use the developer protocol, that's a different section. This is a part of the object itself. You could do cdp.query selector all. So the page has the developer protocol access, and now query selector all would be the developer, the DOM version of the query selector is what I'm understanding. So if you use the CDP, what it's going to do for it is that it's going to call the DOM query selector all. You seen that? So basically, just I did point that out to Joe the last time. For those people who understand more or less where I'm going to, is that if you do not want inconsistent results, use the CDP version of it, because that's the one that actually calls the DOM itself, just in case that the other version gives you something that you were not expecting, right? But in general, I have noticed that using his version is usually the same. I didn't have any troubles automating anything. So in the example that we were doing, I was just doing query selector .s and setting a value to it, value equals AHK hotkey. And then I did the same for the submit, something like that it was. And then it was just to click. And that was for me enough to set values to a specific element on the page, and clicking on a specific element, it was working perfectly fine. I didn't have any issues with it. But I would be aware, I would be careful, because sometimes you might get a weird result. And then I would think, oh, I should use the DOM version of it. And to do that, just do the CDP. That's it. You're good to go. So just to keep that in mind.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ayman is back.
Oh.
Yeah, here we are. So if he can go ahead and share his screen, that would be great. Let's see what happens, and share the results. Did that work?
It didn't.
It didn't. That's interesting. What I would do, you know what I would do with that code? I would add a message box to it and see if the message box gets launched, because it might be that the hotkey is working. So if you go to the code, just right click and edit on it. Right click, edit.
Then I have to reload the script and it would work.
No, but click on edit first.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other things of this script doesn't work either, this.
None of them.
No.
Oh, so the whole script is not working.
I tried this hot string, doesn't work.
That is an interesting one.
This is where I would say, okay, start stripping out crap, right?
Yeah, I would start
just
with
one thing, do your process, reboot. If it works, okay, keep adding back until it breaks.
Now notice, hold on, let me see something.
Oh, you have an if when active there. For
that's what I was going to say, but that
24.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
But and we have it, but that one on the top, those on the top should not be for any Windows, so they should work everywhere. Yeah. So again, this is an interesting situation, and I would assume that, and you said that none of the others work. So if you, right now it's not working, right? So right now it's not working. Can you open Chrome and do the numpad and see what happens? So if you open Chrome, you said that it's not working. So if you go to any Chrome page, just hit your hotkey, which is numpad 2. what should you see? Because I see that you're sending some, so Control L, right? It just goes to the top of the page, Control L, then Control Copy, then runs. So it takes the link from your page and runs something else. So if you do something in there, it's not working. Not at all.
I think the idea of adding message box a few places in your script would help to confirm first that the script is running when you start your computer.
Right. So
put a message box at the very top of the file.
Right. So just a message box,
maybe
around,
on line 2.
Yeah, just put in their message box running. Well, the point is that it is running, so it's down here. Now the question is, why none of the hotkeys are working? And I would have.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know that the number 3 is working for sure, because when you double click on the script, it actually gives you that line that it was executed. So I would assume that the message box is going to be executed. So yeah, what we would do, and if you allow me, just
there's no other script running, right?
So let me.
Yeah. Hot strings doesn't work.
No, but you don't have any other scripts running at the beginning of the thing either, right?
Eamon, do you have any other AutoHotkey scripts running?
Not currently, no.
Okay.
No. So basically, here's what we'll do. We're just gonna run this. You should get a message box. The tray icon should be set, which I see it is being, and then we're gonna just try that one hotkey, because there might be something below that is causing an issue. So now just save, reload, and let's see what happens. As soon as you get the message box, just come back to us, and then we will see if the other part is running.
There did look like an issue with one of the hotkeys I seen just as he was closing. The number pad 3 hotkey didn't have return at the end.
Yeah,
it went into yeah.
I've got to adjust the catch up on what we were talking before, if there's a moment, guys.
Is there any other questions, or?
I've been asking, I haven't seen anybody.
Okay.
So if I can share my screen briefly. There is the share screen. Lovely. You should be able to see the window that is my FTP directly into a folder I created. And those, there's a zip folder in there. Mm-hmm. There is a text file and there's a version file. So all these are publicly available. Now, for your software to pick it up, Azais, when I created this version, when I click on it, when I go directly to it, it downloads a zip file. The text file. So are all these correct? I'm not sure about these two.
No, so yeah, everything looks good. I'm not sure why you have Sidekick version and version.
Well, which one? If I download the version, it comes down as a zip.
No. But basically, you don't have to download. If you go up, open a new page or a new page, and now use the path to that. So that would be your page, and then version, for example, just version.
And this is I created directly in the file manager.
Right. No, but I don't need the file manager. So basically,
it downloads a zip.
No, then that's not what you will need. Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So let's look at the text file.
The text file, it should be just put on top sidekick.txt.
Yeah.
Just put it on here on the web browser. Right. So just at the top, just add txt at the end. Right there, .txt. And that should give you the file in the browser. Like you should be able to see it.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to test. Right. It's loading, no results found.
So there's something with your server, or maybe that page is incorrect. I'm not really sure, but you should be able to access the file directly on the browser.
Correct. So if I go to permissions,
right?
Yes, these are my permissions. Is that correct? That's for the zip. My apologies. These are
I see the permissions right here as well. Yeah, so I see them.
These are the permissions that I have for the zip file that downloads, and I've got the same permissions for the text file.
You know what happens? I think I don't know if you have noticed, if you have worked with the htaccess file.
No.
So the htaccess file might be blocking the txt extension.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe
we don't want to get into that, right?
Right. So, but in general, what you would do, change that to
rename
HTML.
it.
Yeah, rename it to HTML at the end, and let's see if that is, if you're able to see that. So .html, for example, and hit OK, and just go to that page like sidekick version.html.
Yeah.
If you're not able to access that either, then yeah,
it's loading. It's loading. No result.
No, so there is something with your htaccess file. Just look for that on. So there is something that is telling on this folder not to show those files. So there's something that is restricting which files are shown, because the version one is. So if you go to the top of your page and you just put version, you get a file being downloaded, right?
Correct. And I create but I get a zip file downloaded. And the way I created that is I hit new create a file, and it says, add this file to http docs and sidekick. Okay. Should I click use? No, I don't want to.
No. You don't want to use the template. Just a file name.
And that's what a zip file comes down. So my main thing is I'm stuck now. How do I get?
Yeah. So basically, I'm gonna tell you what is going on. You see that when you click on add a file, as you just did, as soon as you click, it seems to be that the program, when you click on create file and you say okay, that function automatically adds that file into the htaccess file that I'm referring to. It is giving it permissions to it.
Okay.
So if you're not doing manually, it is actually doing something that you don't have much control of.
Okay.
So what I would tell you is just go to Google, look for .htaccess, and then read a little bit of how to verify, because I suspect that that's the issue in your case.
So htaccess,
how to allow a file or something like that.
Okay.
And that should be a good starting point.
But
because
the htaccess file has some very sensitive information. So
don't open it right now. But basically, this is, I would tell you, look for that.
Because and it's also very dangerous.
Yeah,
you can lock yourself out from your own server and stuff. So
you have to read about it, be careful with it. And basically, that's the reason why I went with GitHub. GitHub, I just uploaded the file and it is there, and it is easy to access. But if you are going to be doing this, probably if you're paying for your web hosting right now, I would assume so. They have customer support, and you would tell them, okay, look, I want to add a file in there. How do I access that? And they might give you
archives first, because this is probably something that's documented already.
Right. But basically, there has to be a way that they can answer that question for you. Okay, and this is basically an issue with the server hosting than AutoHotkey.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to host it on my web server and then put a pretty name that I can redirect it in the future.
Exactly.
But the files are so small and the usage is so small that there's no point me arranging a grand commercial enterprise on this.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. So so I'll check up the HTTP access, do a bit of reading. And guys, so far, thank you very much for your help. I've really enjoyed your videos. They've educated me to no end. So I definitely owe you a beer, guys.
Excellent.
I think Eamon actually came back and said it's still the message box was there, but the hotkey didn't work. I suggested that he get rid of that hotkey and just put in a simple hot string and just reboot it
and see what happens, right?
Yeah. Eamon, did that work?
No, so none of those is
something really weird going on. Yeah,
right. Now, here's the thing. Let me do this. Remove it from the starting, from your starting, right? Now, start your computer and double click on the file and see if it works normally. Because if it does, there is something on the start of the.
Normally it works because I tried it before.
So double clicking on it, it works. If you,
So it's only the startup's
Right.
the only problem.
How about setting the working directory? Because it might be that when you execute the script from the run, like auto executes it, it is in a special environment and might be restricted. So you can set the working directory to a script here. So let me just 1 second. What I would do there is like set working there, and then I would put here a script. So a script there, that would force the script to start in where you are right now, and maybe there might be some risk at that. Again, what you're experiencing is very weird. I have never seen that. Yeah, I've never seen that, but that might be my next check.
Eamon, can you explain how are you actually, you said you're getting it to launch a startup. How did you accomplish that?
I used your script.
Oh, then it can't be our problem then.
No. But basically, it is putting it in run. Yeah, that is adding it to the run. Yeah, that's okay. That is going to put it in the correct section.
Yeah, all right. Excellent.
So
yeah,
that's
this is really weird.
Yeah. So now it is not about the script. It's not how it's being said.
Though, the message box. Oh, where are you using? Do we have to need to elevate it to an admin? Is it that everywhere he's using it that it's at an admin and that it doesn't have access?
No.
The hot strings won't work if the tool he's using is at an admin level.
Oh, right. I get it. So if this tool, so the one that you're using for the, no, but then that wouldn't explain when he runs or reloads the script. Now it has access. So that wouldn't be it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'd still say it's something I'd consider doing, but I'd try this first.
Yeah, no, so but I think it's a good idea to check that. Yeah.
Yeah, to verify if they're on different levels.
If the tool used to create the startup is running in admin, is it what you?
No. That tool doesn't run in admin mode because it just acts.
It doesn't even run every time. It just
it's
just there to put the shortcut. Okay.
Onto the registry. That's all, and it is in the user section, so it shouldn't ask for any admin permissions or anything.
So, is there something to do with OneDrive?
No, I don't think so. Right now, the last thing that I would check before giving up right now would be line number 2. And the next thing that I would do is try it myself. I will create a script, add some hotkeys and see if that happens to me too. But just now with that check that we put in line number 2, just go ahead and restart. If that doesn't fix it.
Undo this or?
No, just we just have to keep testing very simple stuff. Right now, that hot string should work. So yeah, let's try that.
And then Hellbent actually had a question while he's doing that.
Yeah, so let's go with that.
All right. Okay, so let me share my screen. So I have this program I wrote a couple of years ago. All it does is displays.
Oops, excuse me.
Not a problem.
All it does is it displays a list of all the GDIP functions in the standard auto hotkey library.
Okay.
For some reason, since I got this new computer, if I run the script directly or if I run it from my program here, it errors. So it's this right here. And the weird thing is, the script only works if I run it in this editor. It only works if I have it in the editor and I run it through the editor. Like if I go, let me see if I can confirm myself not to be a liar.
So if you double click from here, it doesn't work either.
That's right. So it should give me an error.
So his site settings.
Oh, wait, sorry. I didn't run it. I opened it.
Yeah.
My bad. Let me see.
Run script.
And there we go.
Okay, so you're okay. encoding
So-
issues, maybe.
That's the only thing I can think of, but I
Yeah,
don't
that's my
understand.
guess, yeah.
I don't understand why, like, why does it work when I put it in the editor?
Yeah, because and that's one of the things that I have issues with. It seems to be that the editor does some things without you knowing.
Okay.
The
So-
editor is adding some. It is adding some encoding before running stuff. So the editor should just be an editor. It shouldn't do stuff
So
like
here,
this.
okay, so here's a question on that then.
Uh-huh.
Why did it work before for several years on my old computer and now it's suddenly?
You recently update to the new version of site, which got rid of that issue.
I don't know, because I would have gotten this version of site when I got this new computer. So
Maybe
I
on your
don't
new
know.
computer, you have default
It's when I'm on
encoding.
I was on Windows 8 and now I'm on Windows 10. So that is a difference. But once again, like, why does it not run? Like, if I run the script, why does it fail? Whereas if I put it into the editor,
64-bit and one running in 32-bit.
like, is that a thing?
Yes, it might be a thing. Yes, of course. So let's check. What is your default auto hotkey
I don't
version?
know. I don't
So let's
know.
go
Is there- can
go
I-
to
can I
the
type
auto
something
hotkey.
here?
So go to your auto hotkey and program files. Go to program files. Go to auto hotkey. So C. No, you have to go to the computer. Go down a little bit. This PC. Yeah. C. Go down. Go down. Go down. Go down. Down. Program files. And then you go to auto hotkey and right click on where it says auto hotkey. Right click, properties, and where it says details. So it will tell me that it is, that's the version and it's 32-bit. So it is okay. Just so you know, there's a new version of auto hotkey, by the way. But yeah, in any case, this is running 32-bit. This should be good. And it is Unicode, so it's not. Now,
So want me to show you the character, like what the script's doing? Maybe that'll help point out something that I can.
What I would do
fix it.
first is actually try to open the script in a hexadecimal viewer.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it's complicated. Right now, you're looking at the text itself, but I want to check if it has a bomb character at the beginning.
Okay.
So let me see something. I know that VS Code, you can download a plugin to see hex characters. I think that Site has that. Maybe one of the buttons up there has this hex view. Maybe if you go to the help, let's go to the help and search in the help. So open the help, F1, right? And in there, if it gives you the option to search, look for hex. I didn't load anything. Or the second one.
No, I think that doesn't work. I don't think that's ever worked.
No, the second one, the site for auto hotkey help.
There we
Let's
go.
see that. Yeah.
Okay.
So this one on the search, there's a tab in there. There's 3 tabs up there. Down a little bit.
Which
A little
one?
bit. There,
Yeah.
that one. Search for hex. HEX and hit enter, and let's see if something useful comes up. Oh, no.
No topics found.
No, so maybe there is a plugin for it. I don't
Okay,
know.
that's fine. So
But
it's
the
just
file
something-
itself might be.
Do you
corrupted.
know, like, do you know? Okay, so if I show, I think it's just a simple character that so it's probably something like this. Do you
Now,
know?
hold on. The problem is that it was referring to line 27, wasn't it? So try to run it.
I use that throughout.
Oh,
Wait, let me see. Yeah, so here,
Yeah.
so I have a couple of different symbols.
okay. Yes, that. So you know what happens? This file encoding is set to the normal one, like UTF-8 raw,
Okay.
and not UTF-8 with BOM. So I don't know if the editor has a way to save as a different encoding.
You just go to file.
Yeah, that's the thing that I find weird. Like, why, like even if it's displaying it, it's still gonna, like, my assumption would have been that when I hit this, it's gonna run the script, just like as if I ran the script. But
Yeah,
that can't be what's happening because it's error.
It is passing it. It is passing it as a. And that's the part that I'm saying, like this editor, when you click on run, is not simply running the script. It's actually passing it as a parameter, and it is setting some encoding options with it for you. But right now, what you would do, you see in file, try to save it as, just go to file, save it as, file, save as, and maybe there should be a way to set the encoding here, isn't it? No, it's not here. Where do you change the encoding in?
It's under file. Go to file and go down. It's above export.
Oh, I'm sorry. So go to file.
You just change it. You don't set it.
Exactly. Okay. So if you encoding, just set it to with BOM. That one with BOM. Yeah, that one.
And what is BOM?
That is like three little.
I've never seen any of that stuff before.
Right. Now let's try going outside.
Like even on my old computer, this is new.
Okay, let's try something. Go outside and try to run it.
Okay, got you. Okay, so I do I need to save this now, right?
I would assume so. Just click OK. And let's go outside and run it from there. And let's see if that actually steal. And it says line 27. So that's the first one. So it is because of those characters. Now, let's do this. Click OK. Do you know the code for them?
Can I undo this? Can I undo this? How do I undo this?
Yeah, sure. Go to File. Go to Encoding. And go to Code Page Property, which was the one that he had. So those characters are wrong. That's what happens. They're in a specific code page. Now, here's the thing. Can you go back to File, Encoding, and use UTF-8, the last one at the bottom? I think that's, okay. So this file is saved in a specific encoding that is not UTF-8. And that's the reason why AutoHotkey is not actually finding it. I don't know if that's ANSI or something. It looks like ANSI. So let's do this. Go back to your encoding, how it was. Okay. Let's go to the code page. And let's go to AutoHotkey folder. The AutoHotkey folder. You can delete AutoHotkey exe unless you're using it at the moment. Because what I want to do is use the ANSI version of it.
Which one?
The one that says AutoHotkey by itself. Okay. That one. So but I think you have scripts running, so you cannot do that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right. But what I would have done is, you see the one that says ANSI, the A32, that one, I would just copy it, paste it. That would create a second version of it. And put it, rename it to the main AutoHotkey for now. So that would be paste. It would tell you continue, and it would just add a second, that one. So the main AutoHotkey, you would delete it, and this one, the copy, just rename it AutoHotkey like that. Yeah. Okay. It's not going to let you because you're running some scripts right now. So, but basically, I would try that, but I don't know what my solution to it would be. Go back to your script, the file.
So I would
just change that.
So that's what I would probably do, is just change this, because this is something that I would understand more like down the road, like, I just don't use these symbols. When I looked up these, like, I didn't know anything about these symbols, and then I just looked up, okay, how do you make special symbols? And it was like press Alt and number pad 163 or whatever, right? So that's my purpose, was to have these characters that are easily identifiable, that I can just embed throughout the script and use them as ways of jumping to different parts, right? Yep. So that's my objective. How I do it, I don't care. So I don't need special. If there's special symbols that I can use without that problem being an issue, then I'm all for that solution.
No, let me tell you, you can use them. That's not a problem. The only thing is that your file must be saved in the correct encoding, which is usually UTF-8.
The fact that it's not shows that it is an issue.
No, but here's the thing. What was the alt code that you used for that one? Do you remember?
No, it was like all I remember is something like you hold Alt and press 1. You press a bunch of number pad keys.
Exactly. So basically, what you would do, and let's do this. Can I have control for a second?
Sure.
I would just, comment that out for now. Right, so I would just comment that out. This one out. So you don't lose them, right? Until you figure them out. But let's do this. So I would just put here, this is one of those codes. I have another one like 20, I think it is. Yeah, that's another one of those codes. And
don't forget to add your parentheses.
yeah, I will do. So I don't know, whatever. So those are codes, and I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. I wanted to add this. But basically, I'm sorry, I had to first change the code page. So let's change the encoding. You're not losing anything. So even though you don't look at them, they are there. It's just how the thing. Now I'm doing the same code. Look at this. So now I'm doing the same things, right? But I'm in the correct encoding. So I can just.
Okay, so why doesn't it, just so I can understand a little better, why didn't, even though you're doing the exact same thing, when you switched it, why didn't it show it?
Ooh.
He knows.
I know from, well, I think from talking from go back and watch the webinar we did with Jean. Well, Jean led. It was really fascinating, but because it will interpret it differently and depending on what encoding you have. The same values, right? It's truly the encoding. So it's saying this is what you had there because this is the encoding you used. And when you switch the encoding, it's like that's something different now.
Right. So is that the one like the function tool here?
Yes.
So let's run it now and let's see what happens. Notice that now it works, right? So here's the thing. And for anybody dealing with encoding issues, now the only thing that you need to do is find the old codes away. Yeah, you're gonna do your old codes, right? Wherever you have them, just put your correct old codes, but you have to be in the code page. And just to kind of like visualize what Joe just said, code page, just imagine in memory, you have specific bytes of memory. So think about them as little boxes where you would put information. So a code page is just how that information is arranged. So for me, I would say like if it is ANSI or UTF-8, well, in UTF-8, each character.
Okay, I think I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So each character has like a specific code, and if you switch,
and has 16 bits instead of 8.
Right. Now, if
the order might be different, it might be
exactly. So if you change the encoding, that makes a different thing. For the encoding,
it's all using the same data, the same ones and zeros, but it's got them in different orders.
It is translated to something different. That's right. Yeah. That's right. So the only thing that you have to make sure is, especially whenever you're dealing with AutoHotkey, AutoHotkey usually deals with UTF-8 with BOM in it. So if you save your files that way, you shouldn't have any issues. If you're using any other code page, you have to force the script to see that code page using the set encoding, I think, directive or command.
If I can just for the future, because maybe in your script you could not change it if you have other users using it, but for safety, when I do delimiters like what you're doing here, I'm using characters that are in the lower part of the ASCII table. So for example, the pipe character, semicolon, or something that of course should not be part of the data that you are separating with this, but using pipe, for example, the vertical bar.
I don't think I could have used pipe. I don't like pipe. Definitely would have been something I couldn't have used. So
because it could be part of the content.
This is what it's doing. Is it's cataloging every single function in the GDIT plus library.
So what I do in this case is that I will before doing the split, I will replace the pipe inside the data with a replacement. So it's a little bit complicated, but there's a way around that. But it's
the work right now, I think, gets easier if you just Control F with that character. I think it might find it. Oh, no, it doesn't. So it's not finding
it's as long as I can see that there's a solution like those.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you do to create those characters that you did there?
No, the same thing. I just did Alt 20 for this one. So this one was Alt 20. Right. The only thing that changed is that
So
the encoding is
I
different.
remember before, I don't recall if I'm actually correct about this, but I kind of remember it before that I actually had to use the number pad keys to do it. Is that correct? Or,
Yeah.
okay, I don't have number pad keys anymore.
Okay, so in this case, what you can do is go to a website that is called altcodes.com or something like that, and you can just copy the character and paste it, and so long as you're in the correct encoding, it should be good.
Okay,
You will not have issues. If you cannot do it on your, there is another way of doing that, what you're saying. I think last time, John, we were talking about that when you were talking about the Unicode characters, like the guy was using the thumbs up. And
yeah, you can use this. Yeah, if you can know the ASCII code of this character, you can use the CHR function that and then put the number of the ASCII code. So this will always work regardless of the encoding, because it's not encoding the character itself, is just telling AutoHotkey it is character number 233, for example.
So let me
okay. So that's how, like, this
you would have to find the ASCII code of the you were using the character E with the circumflex in French. I don't know in English how you call this character.
Like this, and you would put here the number of that character. And if you do that, so if you do that,
okay. So which character would you have? So that's the number.
So, right. So for this one, I'm sure that it is character 20.
215. If you could try 215, it's the ASCII code for the first one that you had on line 27.
All right.
Which is in French E circonflexe, E with a hat on the head.
Right.
I with a hat.
So in this case, it would be something else. So again, it depends. I think that Alt 7, which is what I'm doing, is the point that you were referring to. I think that's the one that you had here. So probably character 7 would give you that point anyways.
7 is good. No, 7 is the bell character.
Yeah.
It's 007. That's not a visible character.
That's the James Bond character.
That's the bell character. Yeah. But 215 is what you were having.
Okay.
Visually,
now,
that's this.
So if I changed, so let's just say that I changed everything with the way I had it in here. So I used the correct character value. I wouldn't need to change anything else in the script. It'll still be able to find the
exactly. It should, and this is the thing. What I'm just thinking is maybe if we could pass the hexadecimal value instead, like this, maybe I could just pass XEE here, and it would work with the original ones that you had. I'm not sure if
wouldn't you have to specify 0x there though?
Yeah, very likely. Yeah, I would just do this. I'm not really sure if this.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know either.
Right.
I don't know anything about this character stuff.
but you know, for line 27, I'm pretty sure that CHR 215 would work. You could try, just test it to see if you get the error on line 28, then it means that line 27 worked, and then you would just have to find the ASCII code for the two other separators on line 28 and 29.
Oh, actually, yes, it works. I just tested that character using the hexadecimal, gave me the I with the little caret, and 95 gave me, let me see. Oh no, that one was blank. I'm not sure why. And A4. The A4 gave me the little currency. So I'm sure that it is actually getting them by using this. So try now. Can you run the script now?
Go ahead, run the script. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's go
here.
ahead.
Actually, here, you know, I know a faster way to get to it.
Yeah.
You have to launch it outside. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, there. It's
so it should have,
but it's not
detecting them either. Okay. No, but that is interesting that we at least tried. But basically, in the end,
John, which number did you say it was?
Yeah, and I put on the Zoom chat the page where I found this code, and you have all the alt key and all the equivalent for the alt key that you were using, and the ASCII code for each of these characters. What
was the first one?
I'll also put. It was
on
215.
215?
Right.
On the Zoom, yeah, and I put also this on the YouTube chat. Just here.
What would that have done actually?
I don't
Oh,
see.
no. You know what? I'm sorry. You know what? I'm sorry. We're fixing the code up here, but remember that on your functions, you still have the invalid codes. So you have to go,
So it's going to be.
you have to replace, you have to
plus.
replace them. So that's the reason why it's not finding it. It's not
Okay.
because it is not working. It is just because we have to basically go to the functions. And that's the thing. I thought that I could find and replace that. But the thing here is replacing this character to the
Here,
real
right click
one.
on, let that thing pop out and then right click on it. Go
I'm
move
sorry,
your mouse
like
over.
this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right click on it.
She said.
There you go. There you go. That way it doesn't keep popping out every time you move your mouse over.
Okay. So basically, what I'm thinking is in another editor, in any other editor, I think, I don't know if you use Notepad++.
I just use this one. I tried using other ones, but I can't get into it.
Right. So basically in other editors, I could grab that character and click Control F and it would find it. But right now, this editor for the find, it translates the code. So I did not want the translation. I wanted to find the original thing, but it is not doing what I need.
What if we open this in Notepad?
I'm not really sure, but let's try it. Let's go ahead and so let's go ahead and edit it in Notepad and see what happens.
What I can tell about Notepad is that this is the way I prefer to convert a file from one encoding to the other. So you can open with one encoding. You open it, it will open it with the current encoding that will be detected by Notepad. And then when you save as, you can set the new encoding that you want to use.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that instead, because what you're saying is that yeah, so keep it like that and get to the encoding that actually works, which is the first one. So that's ANSI. Just save it.
So I'll let you take. I was occupied with what I was doing, so I didn't hear what you guys were saying.
Just maybe just save as with another name just to test the convert. No, from site.
From here, so from
site.
Save as.
You save this file as something else just to do a test.
So let's go ahead and make it on the desktop so that
just put it 2. Just add a 2 to the end of it.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Let's just do some tests here, just to make sure that I know that this file is going to be.
Open it now in Notepad.
Here, want me to navigate you there? It's desktop tools.
No, I think
no. He saved it on the desktop.
It should on the desktop itself. So basically, that's the point of saving it directly on the desktop, so that I didn't have to. Come on,
it's not there
because I didn't. For some reason,
maybe you didn't give an extension.
I did. It is there.
No, you didn't. Yeah.
There it is. That's the one.
I think that site added the AHK.
So here we go. So here we are.
Okay. Yeah.
So now I just save as.
Save as.
And then you change the code page down here.
You change the encoding.
Use 2FA BOM.
And you can try different ones. So, and give it,
So now it did that, right? But, so now it is with the encoding that I was referring to.
Yeah, not sure. You could try to reopen it inside to see.
Let's see inside. Yeah, let's reopen that one. So you were saying that it probably would do the conversion, right?
It does.
But here we go. We are in test.
Yeah.
I am on, and actually this is interesting that I do not have kind of like a place where it tells me what the code page is instead of just here. So let me see. Yeah, now this one is UTF-8 with BOM, but the encoding
character is not what
they did not get switched.
Yeah.
Now my other question is,
it's not an easy topic.
No, but the question is, can I find them all? No, it cannot be found.
If you refix those characters, guys, and resave it now that you've changed the encoding, it should work.
Yeah, so now I could put the characters now, however they really are. But the problem with that is that he will have to go manually for each function, go one by one, and change the characters to the correct characters. That's what happens. That's going to be a little bit of tedious work because we cannot just find them. That's what happens.
Yeah, this script was a tedious
Well,
thing to write to begin with too.
You could use auto hotkey to loop over the files and do it, right?
Yes, because you can use the binary way of reading the file, so you can read it raw. And if you're reading it raw, you can actually search for a very specific binary key, which is going to be the code for that character, and you can replace that like directly in the binary.
Sorry, guys, time is over for me. I have to go.
Yeah, we got to run too. By the way, Eamon, we were doing some more testing and stuff. It turns out it was one of his other programs that was also starting up, the one that helps him type in it, which also kind of has like hot strings and stuff. So it was conflicting, but that's why.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Doesn't make any sense to me, but
still doesn't make any sense. But yeah.
So thanks everyone. This was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
And good luck,
in
Hellbent.
the webinar. Yeah. And how about we can talk later if you want about it.
Yeah,
I'm
if
sure
you want, you
figure it
can
out
join
together.
and we could figure out what we could do with that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.
Okay. Bye.